Let's discuss the second topic of the lesson, organism and population. The next topic is population and ecological adaptations. You know that while considering various alternatives available to organisms for coping with extremes in their environment, we have seen that some are able to respond to certain physiological adjustment while others do behaviorally. That means migrating temporarily to a less stressful habitat. You might see different migratory birds in your locality, isn't it? And your lower classes you studied about hibernation and estivation, summer sleep and winter sleep. These are different adaptations seen in different organisms to coping with extreme environment, okay, to escape from this extreme environment. So these responses are also actually their adaptations. So we can say that adaptation is any attribute of an organism. It may be morphological, physiological or behavioral that enables the organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. Okay, so if the question is asked for 1 mark to write about adaptations, you should write this sentence. Adaptation is any attribute, any character of an organism. It may be morphological attribute, physiological, even behavioral, okay, that enables the organism to survive and reproduce in its habitat. So many adaptations have evolved over a long evolutionary time and are genetically fixed. It does not happen within a fraction of a second. It evolved over a long evolutionary time and are generally fixed. And different examples are given in our textbook. This is a kangaroo rat. So kangaroo rat is seen in a desert. In the absence of external source of water, the kangaroo rat in North American desert is capable of meeting all its water requirements through its internal fat oxidation. That means in which water is a byproduct. Okay, so how it meets the availability of water requirement towards internal fat oxidation. Not only that, it also has the ability to concentrate its urine so that minimal volume of water is used to remove excretory product. Clear? Then, many desert plants have thick cuticle on their leaf surface and have their stomata arranged in deep pits to minimize water loss through transpiration. This example is studied in your lower class, isn't it? And in class +1 we discussed, while explaining about photosynthesis, we explained a specialized pathway, CAM pathway. Remember it? They are having a special photosynthetic pathway that enables their stomata to remain closed during daytime. Okay, it helps to prevent water loss through the process of transpiration. Then some desert plants like Opuntia have no leaves. They are, instead of leaves, the leaves are reduced to spines, and the photosynthetic function is taken over by this flattened stem. So photosynthesis is happening in them and it is carried out by this flattened stem, and to reduce the water loss, the leaves get reduced and spines are there. Then mammals from colder climates generally have shorter ears and limbs to minimize heat loss. See, this rule is termed as Allen's rule. In most of the question paper, we can see questions based on Allen's rule. So this is the diagram of Arctic fox, and this is a desert fox. See, its limbs and ears, they are having shorter ears and shorter limbs to minimize heat loss. Okay. To maintain heat in their body, they are generally have shorter ears and limbs compared to desert fox. Same diagram of organisms found in colder climate and in desert climate. So these the same species of rat, same organisms. Rabbit found in heat climate and cold climate is given here. Same of Same diagram of fox is given here. Okay. Allen's rule, extremities, temperature and evolution. According to Allen's rule, animals living in colder climate tend to have shorter extremities like tails, limbs and ears than animals living in warm climates. This is illustrated by the Arctic fox, the first diagram with its short tail, ears and legs, and the second diagram B, the desert fox with its longer tail, ears and legs. These characteristics have obvious adaptive value. Body heat is retained more efficiently by short extremities and is dissipated more efficiently by large extremities with their greater surface areas. Okay, so if the question is asked for 3 marks and more, you can explain this, you can write this explanation. Okay, so I will add this note in your notes. In our textbook only one sentence is given, and if the question is asked for 3 or 5 marks, you can read this you can draw this diagram too. Okay, then another example. In the polar seas, aquatic mammals like seals have a thick layer of fat. It is known as blubber below their skin that act as an insulator and reduce loss of body heat. So in this diagram it is very clear. So this is blubber underneath the skin. It helps, it acts as an insulator. Okay. Then some organism possesses adaptations that are physiological, which allow them to respond quickly to a stressful situation. If you had ever been to any high altitude place, for example, Rohtang, pass near Manali and Mansarovar and China occupied Tibet, you must have experienced what is called altitude sickness. You might heard the term. So that its symptoms include nausea, fatigue and heart palpitations. Why? This is because in the low atmospheric pressure of high altitudes, the body does not get enough oxygen, isn't it? But gradually you get acclimatized and stop experiencing altitude sickness. What is acclimatization? It is a process, okay? If an organism is reached to an extreme condition from its normal habitat, it will take some time to acclimatize. That means to adapt to that particular environment. Isn't it? So, how did your body solve this problem? So, if you shift your, or if you wanted to live in that high altitude, after some months, your body will acclimatize to the changed condition. So, how did your body solve this problem? The body compensates low oxygen availability by increasing red blood cell production. Okay, and decreasing the binding capacity of hemoglobin by increasing the breathing rate. Okay, so many tribes lives in the high altitude of Himalayas. Find out if they normally have a higher red blood cell count or total hemoglobin than people living in the plains. So you can experience the same for these tribes. Okay, and in most animals, the metabolic reactions and hence all the physiological functions proceed optimally in a narrow temperature range. That is, in human it is 37 degrees Celsius, isn't it? But there are microbes, archaebacteria, that flourish in hot springs and deep seas, hydrothermal vents where temperature far exceed 100 degrees Celsius. How is this possible, children? Many fish thrives in Antarctic waters where the temperature is always below zero. How they manage? That means a variety of marine invertebrates and fish live at a greater depth in the ocean where the pressure could be less than 100 times the normal atmospheric pressure than we experience. Okay, so organisms living in such extreme environment show a fascinating array of biochemical adaptations. So some modifications will be there in their biochemical pathway compared to organisms in the normal habitat. Clear? So some organisms show behavioral response to Example, desert lizard lack the physiological ability that mammals have to deal with high temperature of their habitats. But they manage to keep their body temperature fairly constant by behavioral means. They bask in the sun and absorb heat when their body temperature drops below the comfort zone, but move into shades when the ambient temperature starts increasing. Then some species are capable of burrowing into soil to hide and escape from above ground heat. Not only that, a lot of examples are there. An important branch of science is there named as ethology. So this ethology refers to animal behavior. So in that part you can see a lot of examples. That means the behavioral change shown by different organisms to adapt to a new environment. Okay, so you find different examples from Google and write different examples in your notebook. Okay, so I will add all these examples to your notes. Read the textbook well, study well, and answer the test question. We can meet on next day's class. Thank you, children.